Good morning, everyone. I have a question for you. How many of you ever remember riding a roller coaster? And you think, what's that got to do with anything? Well, I'm serious. I remember doing it as a teenager, and I decided it was not my adventure. I was over and done with it with the one time. And then last night, I had a dream of being on that roller coaster. Yes, not as a kid, but as an adult. I saw it from a different perspective. I saw it as life as we know it. I saw it as that opportunity to recognize that the roller coaster ride can leave us feeling drained. It can leave us feeling stressed. It can leave us feeling overwhelmed and overwhelmed with worry. I believe that when we are feeling that energy and we're called to bring balance into our life, then we have the opportunity to really understand that we're not promoting physical and emotional healing. It's like having a conversation with your inner self, acknowledging your emotions and working towards harmonizing them. It's about realizing that it's okay to feel what you're feeling. Yes, it's okay to feel what you're feeling, and that there are ways to accept balance and heal mentally, emotionally, and spiritually when you admit what you're feeling rather than be in denial. I think that if we take a moment during our day just to check in with ourselves, understand our options, and embrace the wellness of love, we're going to really be able to do that in a different way. In a time of uncertainty, whether it's in our life or the lives that we are observing, when everything around us seems to be changing, in so many ways, I feel that's true for our country, for a lot of people that I know. And what I'm saying is, if we can give ourselves permission to recognize each new day developments, the rising numbers, the changing guidelines, when the world we live in suddenly seems upside down and topsy-turvy, yes, now we choose again, realizing our dis-ease perception. Last month, I happened to read that Jesse and Mary Lou Serino, who had been married 66 years, were experiencing some health issues, which caused them to be admitted to St. John's Medical Center in Oxnard, just days apart. The inseparable couple, both in their 90s, were grateful to be together in the room in the hospital. What they did was they renewed their wedding vows on July 27th from adjoining hospital beds. The couple's 4 daughters, 2 grandchildren attended a special ceremony, and Mike Bernard, the respiratory therapist, served as the best man, according to the Star newspaper. They both had nice recoveries, prompting a nurse to credit, and I quote, "a power bigger than medicine for aiding in their recovery, pure love." A power bigger than medicine. Just like that nurse shared, love moves us into a transformative energy process. We're all witness that energy that uplifts downcast eyes. We've all seen that. Heals, struggles, pains, and nourishes the soul. It's the essence of the cohesive force that binds all life to God. All life to God. There is no upper limit to love. If you believe just so much love is available, you've made up the story you're living in. Should I repeat that? There's no limit to love. It's very important for us to understand, because in the material world, we've all had the opportunity that people appear to walk away from us, people that we loved. So it's important for us to understand that we're free to make up a new story. And stop and think about this for a moment. If you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, and you help something wonderful happen to your child or grandchild, and later that child came back to you and asked you to help with something wonderful again, you would gladly do it, wouldn't you? You bet. You would focus on continuous blessings to your child if you could arrange it. Likewise, divine love holds nothing back. Our God doesn't say enough already when it comes to love. That love is consistent. It flows through us, as us, to be shared by us. If we with ego human personalities are eager to give everything we can to our children, how much more does God want us to share? I think it's a very reasonable question, and one that we probably don't really give enough consideration to. The life does not have a fixed inventory of who is loved. There's not a list, good, bad, and ugly, so to speak. Receiving love does not diminish your ability to have more. It amplifies your ability to have more. Whatever you focus on increases your experience. Be grateful for the love. You'll feel it. You'll experience it. Be grateful. Share it. Each word we speak or think has a life of its own. Yeah, I'm talking about words. The ones I'm speaking right now, the ones that may be in the back of my mind right now, they have a vibratory signature that creates waves that flow out through the universe. Yes, you heard me, flow out through the universe. When we speak or when we write, we use words to carry our meaning as well as energy. We may be speaking to our baby, our boss, or to an audience of people. We may be writing a love letter, work-related memo, or an entry into our own personal journal. Whatever the case, each word we use has a life of its own. It has a vibratory signature that creates waves in the same way that a note of music creates waves. And like musical notes, our words live in communities of other words and change in relation to the words that surround them. When we're conscious of the energy behind our words, we become capable of making and sharing a beautiful vibration in the world. If we are unconscious of the power of our words, we run the risk of creating a noisy disturbance, so to speak. What is your preference? Love or worry? One of the things that I taught my son as a teenager was a fun way for him to increase his awareness and sensitivity to the power of words. We would sit down and make a list of his favorite and most used words. Yes, the gentle and kind, the negative, and the four-letter ones. Then he and I would talk about them and bring forth the energy that they contain. Then I would have him say out loud those words, feeling how they reverberate around the air with just the two of us in the room. I shared with him that the words were like learning to consciously play his guitar. You know, you have the opportunity to play the guitar consciously or unconsciously. Really? The opportunity to recognize that effect can be startling and delightful. So giving him permission to really look at the words, look at the vibration, and understand that they're an instrument of language and communication and energy. Then when we have more of an awareness of that and we make better choices with that, we'll begin to share waves that flow into the expanse of the universe. Some of us know instinctively, while while others come to the understanding slowly. Most of us, though, speak without thinking, at least some of the time, reacting, blurting out our feelings, our thoughts, and yeah, sometimes not very appropriate. When we remind ourselves that our words have an impact on the world at the level of energy, we may want to be more aware of our use of that language. Are we choosing love or worry? You don't worry, correct? Or do you? I got to admit, I do. I had a day of worry yesterday. I had some worry this morning. We all can make up stories about what to worry about. And one of the things that Manny told me that I'd never really heard before, but I guess there's some researcher that said that about 85% of what we worry about doesn't happen. Thus, we just spend an incredible amount of energy in worrying. An incredible amount of energy. In this study, subjects were asked to write down their worries over an extended period of time and then identify which of their imagined misfortunes did not actually happen. Lo and behold, it turned out that 85% of what subjects worried about never happened. And with the 15% that did happen, 79% of subjects discovered either they could handle the difficulty better than expected, or the difficulty taught them a lesson worth learning. This means that 97% of what you worry over is not much more than a fearful mind punishing you with exaggeration and misperceptions. An example of someone who made that decision is an elderly woman. Martha was asked to drive her to the clinic for an annual checkup. Martha didn't know this woman, but she said, okay. All she was told was that this woman was more than 90 years old and probably quite frail. That's all she knew about her. But when the person opened the door, when Martha knocked on it, of course, and you could hardly describe her as old and frail. The person who stood before Martha was a sprightly lady who appeared to be in her 70s at the most. Do you mind me asking how old you are? Martha asked on the drive to the doctor. 93, the woman answered. Martha was astonished. You look so much younger. She said, what's your secret? Well, honey, she answered, 30 years ago, I made the decision to stop worrying, and I haven't wasted a moment on worry since. Stop and think, how often do we waste a moment on worry? And more than a moment. And how many hours? It was this decision that made her younger, made her healthier than her chronological age. Think of all the energy she gained through her decision not to worry. Think of all the anxiety she spared herself and the needless stress she avoided. Martha said that it showed up in her face, it showed up in her attitude, and in how well her brain functioned. Perhaps worry energy could be put to a better use. What do you do to stop worrying? Control what you can. What you can't control, you hand to our divine source and ask Holy Spirit what this is teaching me. It's that simple. We complicate it. We have that attitude to move into fear rather than move into love. Remember, our divine source is here to have wonderful things happen for us. We just have to affirm that that is the truth and do it. Just do it, like Nike says. If you can't control worry, then you hand it to God by meditating, praying, and letting it go. You may stop worry chatter by exercising, practicing Tai Chi, telling jokes, watching funny videos, praying, use positive affirmations, playing music, and drumming. Drumming is one of the most wonderful ways that we can possibly ever give ourselves permission to share a vibration of release and let go. Now, perhaps doing acts for others and sharing love in thought and word and action is a call too. Because when we can focus on somebody else's needs, we're not going to have the energy to focus on our worry. It's going to be a lot different. And every other day, Manny and I see this lady on the street. She and her husband are very polite, courteous, smiling, standing on that street corner, holding up the cardboard sign. And her pup, Pee-Pee, is wearing a cooling ice jacket around that she had configured and made up and figured out how to make it. We give her money when we can, of course. We give her cold water. And yes, I got her some dog food. And she was so grateful, appreciative, and showed love. She was always cheerful and grateful. 110 degrees, standing on a street corner. The gratitude from her is so invigorating for us. Every time we have an opportunity to see it, we'll reach over, we'll take each other's hand, and we'll say yes. We just do, because she keeps on keeping on, and she's not preoccupied with things that we worry about. She's preoccupied with what she's doing, the contact she's making with the people, and the gratitude she has for them. That gratitude from her is very invigorating to Manny and I. We can see the love in her heart, even though she is in 110-degree weather. That love in her heart is crystal clear. Her eyes reflect the light. Have you ever met somebody like that? Remember, words, thought, action. Use loving words to focus on love, not worry. As so often happens with me, is I will be putting together something for Sunday or something else and run across a poem. And I think you'll really like this one. Crystal clear view of your heart, beautiful and strong. Love that flows with life, flows with care. Warm feelings come to myself as I gaze on your heart. A smile, a love, a caring to you I give. My world fixed on your heart, crystal beautiful, crystal clear. Boundaries are defined by space. Love is defined by heaven. Both are crossed by a bridge made of souls connected. Your heart, beautiful and warm. May I touch your heart with mine? May I go to heaven as I touch your heart? I love you. This is heaven. Good day. Hope you will enjoy the heavens on earth with the one who makes you feel the best out of you. The beauty of life is when you see the love in the eyes without a word being spoken. A poem by Albert Alexander Bukowski. Very important message for you and I think. And I want you to know that I'm not afraid to tell you I love you. Truthfully, I'm not. Your mind might say, well, you don't even know me. How can you love me if you don't even know me? Well, I can. Why? Because the love of God is here to be shared through me and through each and every one of you. The more that we can share the love, the more that we can feel that love. You know, here's a safe place for me to say, I love you. And I know there are places that it's not safe to say that, but that doesn't mean I can't think it. The vibration and the energy still go out. So give yourself permission to really focus on love over worry. Give yourself permission to lead a life that is loving, kind, generous, gentle, and trust. Trust in our God, the guidance, the direction. Thank you.